And I'm stoked to welcome back to the show Sunshine Coast singer-songwriter Ayla. Thanks for joining me once again. How have you been?
Thanks so much for having me. Yeah, I've been good, thanks. How about yourself?
That's the way. Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. As music fans, so far this year we've been well and truly spoiled with it with the sheer amount of quality releases. And I was just wondering if there's a specific release recently or released in the past that you've been revisiting the most so far this year.
Hmm. I've been very excited to see some new ballpark music stuff coming out. I've always really loved their stuff, so that's been really cool. And that just recently, I think on the same week that I put out mine at the end of last week, they put out a track, which is
Mm.
really it's a really great track.
Definitely so very keen for that upcoming album.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
I feel you. And last week, as you mentioned just before, you released your latest single, which is the first release of yours of the year, excluding minor premieres, of course.
Yeah.
Your new single "Go Slow," which displays quite a bit of a sound change from your previous releases. What can you tell us about the tune?
Yeah, well, I was lucky enough to get to work with a guy called Reuben Styles from Peking Duck, and he did the production on that one. So yeah, that sort of really influenced the style of it a lot, which yeah really shaped how the sound went. So I was yeah absolutely stoked to be able to get to work with him, and I'm really happy with how the track turned out. And I guess we just sort of made the track. It was actually a little while ago that we made it, and we didn't really have any plans for it in mind at the time. We just made the track and as it was, and did what we thought sounded good, I guess. And then it just turned out how it did. But yeah, I'm happy with it and happy with a little bit of a mix up of sound. I don't
Mm.
think I don't think it's too far removed, so that's good.
Yeah, for sure. And so, did you go into the studio with the lyrics, or was that something that you worked on with him as well?
So how it worked was he sent through a track that he'd been working on, and like an instrumental track, and
Mm.
then I did the melody and lyrics over the top of that, and had a few different ideas that we bounced back and forth with the melody and lyrics ideas. He would make some suggestions, and I'd try changing a few things, and yeah, so we actually did a lot of that just back and forth over email. And then in the end, when we had locked in what we wanted, then I went down to Sydney and laid down the vocals there with him.
Mm. And so, have you worked in that? Have you made music in that kind of environment before? How did you find it?
I had done a bit of that kind of, so it's called top lining, where you do the melody and lyrics over the track that a
Mm.
producer sends through. So I've done a little bit of that before, but yeah, this was definitely the most in depth one that I had done before. And since working on that track and during the isolation a little bit, and also a little bit before that, in the break between releasing my last single, I've been doing a fair bit more of that, working with some different producers and doing some more collaborations. So that's been really fun.
Beautiful. And so, was "Go Slow" picked from a bunch of new tracks, or was it was it always going to be your next single?
I actually, yeah, I was gonna go a different route, and had another single that I was gonna put out at the end of last year, but ended up working with a bit of a new team, and it was decided that it was a pretty good idea to revisit that one that we had in the bank. And yeah, I think that was a really great idea. So I'm really glad that we went with this one. And yeah, because I think it's a good taste of the other collaborations to come. So
Hmm.
there's definitely some other tracks in the works, which is exciting as well.
For sure. And so, did you actually end up recording in the studio with him, or did you record everything yourself?
Yeah, so I did the demos by myself, but I'm not very well equipped for that, the final vocals. And I think it's good to be in the same room together with the final vocals, just because he could give a few just little ideas on phrasing and things like that as we went. So yeah, it was really good to be in the same room with him for
Mm.
doing that final vocal take.
And so, how did the actual recording process vary from working on your latest EP, Let's Talk Monday?
Yeah, that EP and the one before it both were sort of the complete opposite, in that I would come in with the melody and lyrics, and then we would build the instrumentation and the track around that. Whereas this was the complete opposite, in that I was sent the tracks first and then wrote to them. So it's been a really good experience to mix it up a bit like that, and to see what else comes out when you do it that way. I think it sparks some different ideas. So that's been good.
For sure. And have you brought any new influences on board since the 2018 release?
Yeah, I think with some of the stuff I'm writing at the moment, I've been listening a lot to a bit more, I don't know exactly the genre you'd call it, but like Frank Ocean kind of stuff, and a bit of Bon Iver. But also I've been listening a lot to this band I like called Easy Life,
Oh,
and they're from
yes.
the UK. You know them?
Yeah, I love Easy Life.
Yeah, I really like them too, and I really like the way he sort of almost has a rap flow in his lyrics. So I think that's been a bit of an influence in the stuff that I'm doing lately. And I just think his lyrics are so clever, which is always an inspiration to listen to someone who's writing some really clever stuff in their lyrics.
Completely agree. And moving on to more locally now, have you heard any Queensland releases?
Oh, this little band called Minor Premiers have had a little release
Oh, yes. Beautiful. Thanks
lately,
for that, dude.
which I think is
A
all
beautiful
right.
album.
Yeah, I am lucky enough to play bass and do backing vocals with Luke, whose band it is, and and yeah, I just have no idea how I ended up in that role because I don't play bass, but it's so much fun. So that's been really cool.
Yeah.
And yeah, Ballpark, they're Queensland as well, and I heard a new track the other day from Eve's Caritas, and I believe she's from Brisbane area. So that's been cool too. Yeah, there's just so much new music coming out at the moment, which is really good in a time like this, I think.
Yeah, definitely. And so back to minor premieres just for a bit. So we actually learning bass kind of as you went when you first joined the band?
So what happened was they asked me, well, I met them when they came into the uni that I was studying music at, and I had to record them there, which I'm even less adept at than bass. And then they asked me to do some backing vocals on this album that they've just put out. And I did that, and that was heaps of fun. And then Luke, the songwriter, he said, "Do you play bass? Do you want to play bass with us and do the backing vocals?" And I said, "No, I've never played bass in my life." And he said, "You'll be fine." And now I play bass with them. So I'm so lucky that they took me on.
Yeah. Wow. What a beautiful tale.
Yeah, thank you.
And now moving on to some broader questions now. If you could
Mm.
master any
Yeah.
instrument, which would you pick and why?
Oh, I've been actually thinking lately that it would be really cool to be good or learn drums. I think that would be cool.
Yeah.
I like, because I think it might be a bit of an influence as well from that easy life kind of genre where the drums just really tie it in and make that flow just feel so tight and really groovy. So I don't know. I think it could be cool to learn drums.
Yeah. Definitely good pick.
What
And
about you?
oh, well, I mean, I've been I use the term learning bass pretty lightly. but
Yeah.
I bought a bass quite a while ago, an embarrassingly long time ago now, and I haven't
Yeah.
made
It's always
much
the way.
progress. So I'd li- I'll start with mastering that, but
Yeah, that's a good choice.
yeah, get there eventually. And if you could if you could make the soundtrack or score to any film, television show, or video game, what would you pick?
Oh, that's a good question. That's a broad one. I think the old James Bond is
Oh,
a pretty good, a pretty prestigious sort of role.
of course.
But TV show, don't know. I would have to think about that. But I do really like Australian TV shows, so that would be pretty cool to do a soundtrack for something out of Australia.
Definitely. Any recent standout Australian shows that you'd recommend?
Oh, it's not super recent, but Please Like Me by Josh Thomas
Yeah.
is just the best TV that there is. It's so
I don't
good.
disagree.
Yeah, that was a pretty good one.
Mm. And do you have a go-to cooking record at the moment to help inspire culinary masterpieces? Or it could be a chore
Mm.
around the house album or study album even.
Yeah, I think it definitely depends on what I'm listening to at that point in time. So, but I reckon for cooking and cleaning, definitely you want something a little bit groovy so you can, swing your hips while you're
Definitely.
tossing the salad.
Any groovy albums in particular?
Definitely Easy Life lately. I've been
Oh yeah.
just cranking, and also the new Strokes album has been good.
Ah, yes. Not enough guests have brought that album up, which
Yeah.
has been upsetting me. Been loving that album a lot.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah,
Uh,
it's so
uh,
good. Love the
Have you been a
Strokes.
fan of them for quite a while?
Yeah, I got not too long. I got onto them last year, and I just I binge bands that I like, so I just put them on shuffle play for like a month or more, and just listen to all of their stuff
Mm,
again and again. But yeah, I don't really know the names of the songs. I just know the songs, and yeah, I really like their stuff.
yeah. Nice. And how did you keep sane during ISO? Do you have any recommendations, entertainment or hobby recommendations for any listeners?
Mm. Well, now that the tennis courts are open again, I like a bit of a hit of tennis. That's
You any
always good
good?
to get the blood flowing. My parents are both quite good, so I know how to play, and I can hit it back. I can't beat my mum yet, or
Oh
definitely
no.
not my dad. But yeah, I can play, which is good.
Yeah.
And I also bought a wetsuit, and I've been trying to do a bit of surfing, so that's
Okay.
been good.
Nice.
How about you? What have you been doing to keep yourself sane?
Uh pretty much just a bit of exercise whenever I can be bothered. I've
Mm.
also I've regained my love for old school Simpsons. So I've been
Yeah.
enjoying watching through that, and then yeah, I've been going for kicks with a friend of mine to keep somewhat sane. So just playing a bit of football, basically, just one on one. But
Yeah, I
yeah,
think
that's
it's
been
been
quite
really good
nice.
to get into the sporty stuff. And definitely a lot of people have been watching a bit of TV lately, I think.
Oh yeah, I dare say that the Netflix hours have gone up quite a bit.
Simpsons is a good one.
Yeah. Definitely. If you had to name one artist or a specific record that you think has had the biggest influence on you, either personally or musically, who would you name?
Hmm. The first one that comes to mind is an album that I had when I was little, and I played just on repeat until I basically learnt how to sing the whole album, which was James Blunt's album that You Are Beautiful
Oh,
it is on.
nice.
And
Back to
yeah,
back to something. I think it's called. I don't know.
But oh yeah, Back to Bedlam.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
I love that
and
album.
yeah, I really like it. I think it's some good pop stuff, and yeah, mostly it's just sort of sentimental because it's the first time I really learnt whole songs through and then sung them myself.
Mm. Is it an album that you've revisited recently?
Not really, but maybe I'll have to whip him out
Yeah.
again.
I hope it lives up. I haven't listened to James Blunt in a while, to be
Yeah,
honest, but definitely held a very special place in my heart growing up. And
good old Jane.
oh yeah. And what else can we expect from you in the not too distant future?
Yeah, well, with these collaborations that I've been doing, there'll be a bit more music coming out soon, which is very exciting. So, yeah, I've been super lucky to work with some really talented producers, and I'm looking forward to putting out a bit more of that material. And obviously, yeah, everyone's a bit unsure of when the live shows will happen again, but hopefully venues will be able to open up again soon,
Mm,
and everyone will be able to get back to playing and going out to shows.
definitely. And so with the collaborations, is the plan to just have individual singles for the moment?
Yeah, for the moment there'll be a couple of singles. Yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
So they're
And
all sort of in the works at the moment, in various stages of getting finished off, a couple of different songs.
mm, beautiful. And lastly, if you only had a few words to describe your latest single, Go Slow, which few words would you use?
Um, I don't know why it comes to mind, but well, probably because it was just recently, I'm on a picnic with some friends at the moment, and
Okay.
my friend said it's a good song to make you go slower in traffic.
Ah, okay. Track to help keep you sane.
Well, no, because it's called Go Slow, so prevents speeding.
Yeah, of course. It's very wise. Thanks for joining me again, Ayla.
No worries. Thank you so much for having me, Calen.